the reason for getting fat. One day, Akbar and Birbal sat in the dining room. They had just eaten a heavy lunch. Birbal teased Akbar, "Your Majesty, forgive me for saying this, but you are becoming fat." Akbar said sadly, "It is because of the rich food the cooks feed me." Birbal said, "No, sir. It is because you have no tensions. A well-fed person, who has a lot of tensions, does not gain weight." Akbar said, "You are wrong, Birbal. Even an animal gains weight, if fed well." "Prove your point." To prove his point, Birbal bought a goat. He asked his servants to feed it very well, twice a day. A month passed by. Emperor Akbar finally came to see the goat. Akbar was shocked to see that the goat had not gained any weight. He asked Birbal if the goat was fed well. Birbal said, "Your Majesty, he was fed very well twice a day. You can check with the servants." "However, I had tied the goat to the cage of a lion." The goat lived in the constant fear and tension of losing its life, and so, it did not gain any weight. Akbar accepted that Birbal was right.
The Alchemist Stone. Many ambassadors from various kingdoms used to visit Akbar's court. One day, an ambassador present in Akbar's court asked him, "Sir, in our country, there are many great alchemists. They can turn any metal into gold. They can also create stones, which tell the difference between brass and gold. Do you have such a stone in your kingdom?" Akbar replied, "I have something even better. This gem can tell the difference between brass and gold. But not just that, it can also differentiate good things from bad ones." The ambassador was impressed. He said, "Can we see this gem?" Akbar said, "Yes, of course." Then he called Birbal and said, "Here is my most precious gem. He can discover good things among bad ones and can pick out good people among many bad ones. Birbal has solved many people's problems and saved many innocent lives. He is a true gem of a person kind, intelligent and humble." The ambassador said, "You are right. We have heard a lot about Birbal. He is really the most precious gem out of all. You are really lucky to have him." Akbar was happy with the ambassador and sent him away with gifts.
What I desire. A miser lived in the outskirts of the capital. During the reign of Emperor Akbar, he saved all his money in a big box. He spent very little on food and other necessities. One day, the miser's hut caught fire. All his neighbors gathered. The miser started shouting, "Somebody please save my precious box." Suddenly, a neighbor came and said, "I can save it, but I will give you what I desire and keep the rest." The miser agreed. The neighbor brought the box out of the hut. The miser thanked and asked him for his box. The neighbor reminded him, "I will give you only what I desire, so I will keep all the money inside the box." The miser was very disappointed. Birbal was passing by. Miser told him the entire story. He said, "This box has my entire life savings. I request him to leave some for me." The neighbor said, "I told you that I will give you only what I desire." Now, Birbal caught him in his own words. He said, "You desire the money inside the box and therefore should give it to the miser." The neighbor was shocked, but had to return the money to the miser.
Goddess love. Emperor Akbar was a very devout man. He wanted to know about different religions. One day, Akbar asked Birbal, "Why did Lord Krishna always run to help his devotees? Didn't he have any servants? Isn't it strange that the gods are at the beck and call of the devotees?" Birbal was astonished, but kept quiet. Then, he got a wax idol made of Khurram, Akbar's favorite grandson. A servant dressed it like the prince. The next day, Akbar and Birbal were walking in the city. As they approached a lake, Birbal signaled to the servant. The servant threw the wax idol into the lake. Akbar thought that it was Khurram and dived in. Immediately, he grabbed the idol and only then realized that it was a wax idol. Birbal helped him out of the water and said, "Your Majesty, why did you jump in? You could have instructed one of your servants to save the prince. Khurram is my dearest grandson, I cannot wait for a servant to save him," said Akbar. "God also loves his devotees very much and does not wait for others to help them," said Birbal. The emperor got the answer to his question about God's love.
The Trickster. Once, there lived a greedy sage, who pretended to be pious. One day, an old lady was going on a pilgrimage. She asked the sage to keep her life savings with him safely, till she returned. Sage replied, "Dear lady, these things do not interest me. You may bury them in the corner of my hut." Then, he closed his eyes to meditate. Old lady buried the coins and left. After many months, the old lady returned for her coins. She dug the ground and was shocked not to find them. The old lady went to Birbal for help. After Birbal listened to her, he said, "Don't worry and just do as I say." The next day, Birbal visited the sage. "O pious sage, please keep these jewels safe till I return." "I am off to meet my cousin," said Birbal, and opened the bag full of jewels. The old lady also came. The sage wanted to impress Birbal, thus said, "Lady, your coins are in the northern corner. Do take them." The old lady dug out her coins and left. Just then, a servant informed Birbal that his cousin had come to visit. Birbal took his jewels and left, too. The sage realized that he was caught by the clever